Yeah, go ahead. Hire 10 random people and hope for the best. Meanwhile, billion-dollar companies, they started with 5 killers. Each one had a job that made everything click. You miss one, good luck scaling anything. Before Apple was Apple, before Airbnb turned airbeds into empires, every legendary company started with one thing: someone who could see the entire board before the first move. That person, the one nobody notices first, the analyst. Now don't let the name fool you. This isn't just a nerd surrounded by graphs and glowing screens, though that helps. It's the one who spots patterns in the mess, who doesn't just react to chaos, they predict it. In most startups, that analyst, it's the founder. That's you. The one crunching numbers at midnight while everyone else is partying. The one chasing margins, not approval. You wake up with 3 business ideas and immediately ask, does this scale? Not, will this impress anyone? That mindset, it's what separates the dreamers from the builders. Here's a story. Remember WeWork? Valued at $47 billion. Offices everywhere. A founder so charismatic, he convinced the world he was the next Jobs. But underneath the cool branding and hype, no one was watching the money. No one was asking the right questions. You know what that means. No analyst. Nobody in charge paused to ask, what's the actual cost of running all this? What if the real estate market tanks? Are we really scaling or just setting cash on fire? By the time the truth showed up, it was too late. And the hype evaporated. The whole thing crashed like a Jenga tower built on wet receipts. Valuation down 90%. Billions gone. Investors ghosted. And all because nobody was watching the signals. No one was checking the vitals. No one had their eyes on the only thing that really matters when hype runs wild: data. The analyst is the gut check, the early warning system, the one who doesn't buy the dream. They interrogate it. They're tracking CA's burn rate, LTV, and runway. They know what moves the business and what quietly kills it. You don't scale on vibes, you scale on visibility. And that starts with one mindset. If that's not you yet, you've got 2 paths. Learn how to think like an analyst, or brace yourself and fail faster. Let's be real, every startup starts like a garage band. No rules, no plan. Someone's coding in pajamas, someone else is stress-eating chips, and nobody remembers who was supposed to send the invoice. But at some point, someone's got to step up and run the show. That's the operator. If the analyst is your eyes, the operator is your hands. They take your chaotic vision and turn it into systems, schedules, and results without the whole thing catching fire. Vision is great. Execution, that's what keeps you alive. Think of it like this. You're flying a jet. You've got the destination. But while you're pitching to investors and chasing the next big idea, your operator is right there, flipping switches, watching the radar, keeping the plane from spiraling into a mountain. Every legendary founder had one. Jobs had Tim Cook. Disney had Roy. Even Musk had Gwynne Shotwell running SpaceX like a machine while he tweeted his way through headlines. The operator is the quiet genius who keeps the circus from exploding. They're the ones who say, love the pitch, but have we paid payroll yet? They build order from chaos. They stop problems before they start. They make sure your big ideas don't turn into big disasters. And here's the twist. Operators aren't flashy. No TED Talks, no viral tweets, no podcast interviews. They're behind the curtain, pulling the levers. And if you don't have one, you're doing 19 jobs, sleeping 4 hours, and calling it grind mode. That's not impressive. That's burnout. One founder said, the day I hired my operator, I stopped running a 12-hour hustle and started building a 12-year legacy. That's the shift, from chaos to clarity, from founder to leader. Because real momentum doesn't come from doing it all. It comes the moment you hand over the cockpit and finally fly the damn plane. Every startup hits that moment where the idea sounds like the next billion-dollar breakthrough until someone asks the question nobody wants to hear. Okay, but who's actually going to build this? That's when the builder steps in. The one person who can turn your wildest late-night brain dump into a real product. They take Post-it notes, chaotic group chats, and caffeine-fueled ambition and transform them into something you can touch, test, launch, and scale. And let's get something straight. Builders aren't Swiss Army knives. They're not trying to juggle sales, marketing, code, and design all at once. No, they specialize. They master. They obsess over one thing: building. In the early days of Apple, Steve Jobs was the visionary, but it was Jony Ive who made those visions real, who shaped the iPod, the iPhone, the Mac into objects people love to hold. Same with Tesla. Elon Musk dreamed of electric dominance, but it was Franz von Holzhausen who made those cars turn heads. That's the power of the builder. They're the translator between big ideas and the first usable version. And they're not always engineers. Builders might be designers, chefs, coders, or creators. Whatever your product needs to become real. Here's the twist. Most builders don't want to be CEOs. They're not chasing equity or board seats. They don't want to manage a team or sit through budget meetings. They just want space, tools, and a challenge worth solving. Give them that, and they'll deliver something better than you imagined. But force them into roles they hate, or drag them into office politics, and you'll burn them out fast. A great builder is why your product doesn't just work. It wows. It feels effortless. It spreads because people want to talk about it. In the chaos of startup life, the builder isn't loud, but they're lethal. Often underestimated from the outside, but completely irreplaceable on the inside. You've got a product, you've got a plan, the team's in motion. But if nobody's turning all that work into revenue, you don't have a business. You've got an expensive passion project. That's where the seller comes in. They're not just the one who makes sales, they're your rainmaker. The closer, the person who walks into a room, smiles, and walks out with a contract, 2 referrals, and someone's dog wagging behind them. While you're obsessing over product details, while the operator's holding the machine together and the builder's locked in the zone, the seller is out there turning that effort into fuel. They don't wait for leads to land in their lap. They generate demand out of nowhere. Think Safra Catz at Oracle. While others were still fiddling with demo decks, she was locking in billion-dollar contracts that kept clients tied to Oracle for years. She didn't sell software, she sold certainty. That's what elite sellers do. They don't just pitch features, they paint outcomes. They make the client feel what life will look like after buying in. And here's the part most people miss. Great sellers aren't all talk. They're listeners. They study psychology, buyer hesitation, price anchoring, emotional cues. They know when to push, and when silence closes the deal. In the early days, yeah, you'll be the one doing the selling, and honestly, you should, but you'll hit a ceiling. And unless you bring in someone who lives for the chase, who gets a dopamine hit from hearing yes, you'll stay stuck in founder sales mode forever. The seller is your ignition switch. Without them, your product collects dust. With them, you're not chasing customers. Customers are chasing you. You've got the team, you've got the product, you're even making money. But here's the million-dollar question. Do people actually care? Because in today's world, attention is the new currency. And if no one remembers you, you don't exist. That's why you need the storyteller. They're not just marketing. They're the ones who turn features into feelings. They don't slap together ads. They craft meaning, identity. They make people say, that brand, that's who I am. Nike doesn't sell shoes. They sell victory. Red Bull sells rebellion. Apple sells cool. And behind each of those, a storyteller who knew how to wrap a product in emotion so powerful it became a personality. Want proof? Remember when Uber's brand was in freefall? Lawsuits, scandals, chaos. Who did they call? Bozoma St. John, a master of emotional branding. She didn't just clean up the mess. She rebranded Uber into a story about movement, redemption, and second chances. And it worked. Here's what most founders miss. A great story isn't about you. It's about them, your customer, their values, their identity, what they become when they choose you over the rest. You can have the best product, perfect UX, and an all-star team. But if you don't have a story, you're invisible. The storyteller's job is to make you unforgettable. They shape your voice, your visuals, your presence. They're why fans tattoo your logo, why your content spreads, and why people believe you're more than just a business. Because in the end, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it and how it makes them feel. So you've built the dream team. 5 roles, 5 rock stars. Everything's clicking. The product is solid. Money's coming in. And then something breaks. Systems that used to run smoothly now feel clunky. Your Slack channel turns into chaos. Decision-making slows down. Problems multiply. You're growing, but that growth starts to feel heavy. That's when it's time for the big hire. And no, this isn't just another generalist who'll figure it out. This is the assassin, the sniper, the person who spent 10 years getting world-class at one thing, and now That one thing is the exact thing that's holding you back. It could be a product genius, a systems architect, a finance killer. Whoever they are, their one mission is to blow through the bottleneck that's capping your growth. Think of it like this. Burberry was on the ropes. Iconic name, but totally outdated. They brought in Angela Ahrendts, a retail mastermind. She didn't just fix the brand, she made it cool again. Global, aspirational. Then Apple hired her to redesign their stores. And suddenly, shopping at Apple felt like walking into the future. That's the power of the big hire. They don't improve, they transform. But here's the catch. If you bring them in too early, it backfires. They'll either get bored, break your systems, or walk because the company isn't ready for their level of execution. A big hire is like adding nitro to a race car, but if the frame can't handle the speed, it crashes. So how do you know it's time? When momentum slows, when growth feels heavy, when the problem is obvious, but the solution is beyond your current team. That's when you swallow your pride, write the check, and bring in the one person who solved this exact problem before. No ego, no guesswork, just precision. Let them do what they do best and watch everything level up. Let's recap. You don't need 100 hires to build a powerhouse company. You need 5. The analyst, to see what others miss. The operator, and to turn ideas into systems. The builder, and to make the product real. The seller, to turn that product into money. The storyteller, to make people care. And when the machine starts to strain, you bring in the big hire, the one who takes you from good to unstoppable. These aren't just roles, they're force multipliers. Nail them, and you won't just build a business, you'll build a legacy. So if this gave you a spark, a strategy, or even just one aha moment, hit that like button. Subscribe for more bold ideas to help you scale smarter, lead sharper, and build like the greats. And before you click away, ask yourself this: which role are you missing right now? And how much is that silence already costing you? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.